You're reinforcing this fight or flight mode, this danger mode by saying, no, it's not safe to go there. It's not safe to go there. I just need to do more research. I just need to spend more time, whatever it is. I don't know, getting calm, getting out of fight or flight. But at some point, you have to realize that you just need to step outside. You need to step outside and you're not going to feel ready for it. And it probably will trigger stuff. That's it. That's the actually being willing to step into the unknown, to do things before you're ready for them. You don't get a little mail at your door saying, all right, whatever your name is, you are now ready for the phase where you expose yourself to the things that you want to do, but you're afraid of. You have to be okay with not getting it right. This is the safety trap. This is the fear trap. The mind becomes so afraid, like fear just becomes this addictive loop. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is this idea that you should stop waiting for healing to happen. You should stop waiting for the fear of new experiences that are beyond what feels like your current capacity or capabilities to go away. Right? Yes, there's phases of learning to regulate the nervous system, giving yourself space to process what's coming up. Right? A lot of trauma, a lot of this, a lot of that. But what happens is the mind gets stuck in this idea and this belief that it has to feel ready before it can step out and do something new. And that is a massive thing that keeps people stuck. I was speaking with a client yesterday and he kind of shared how that realization happened in his own experience. And he shared it really well, which was that, he'd been in the kind of free state for a while, you could call it that. And at some point he realized that, he just went out and did something, right? He was feeling alone and isolated at home. And he was like, let me just go out and do something. And then in that moment, he was like, oh, the nervous system becomes more resilient and it becomes more capable through the exposure to something that you might not have felt ready for beforehand. Right? So of course there's two sides to this. And generally people come to this realization when they have spent enough time doing that acceptance work, doing the just being with what is, kind of calming the nervous system, regulating the nervous system. But that can become such a sticking point. That can become such a trap for so many people. It was for me, right? Kept on waiting for this baseline where there's no symptoms. That's what people talk about in chronic fatigue syndrome and long COVID. It's like you have to wait for this baseline. But that's, from my own experience and from many people that I've spoken with, waiting, you're going to wait forever, right? And also at the same time, this is more from my own experience that I'm talking about. So much of that phase where I was just like, I'm not allowed to go do anything in the external world. I was actually just making my nervous system in a worse state because I was spending all this time stuck indoors, on screens, or, I was trying to manage my screen time, give myself rest and do all this pacing shit. But nowadays, if I'm feeling like shit, I'll go and spend time out in nature. I'll go for a walk. Today I just got back. I was on the lagoon for 2 hours, just paddling around in the waves, and then just paddled to this island and was looking at the seals and the birds on the island. And it's like, this is what I was not allowing myself, whereas that is such a healing space for the nervous system, right? That is as opposed to sitting indoors on my laptop, researching, what's long COVID, and then going on these long COVID forums, just completely absorbed in the stuff that's stressing out your nervous system. And yet people in these spaces, and I was people, so I'm speaking from the space of having been there myself, is you believe that it's not safe to go out into the external world, right? You believe that to stay safe and to keep yourself indoors. But meanwhile, you're reinforcing a state of non-safety. You're reinforcing this fight or flight mode, this danger mode by saying, no, it's not safe to go there. It's not safe to go there. I just need to do more research. I just need to spend more time, whatever it is. I don't know, getting calm, getting out of fight or flight. Sure, right? I understand where all that comes from. As I said, I was there myself. That's why I can speak about it. But at some point, you have to realize that you just need to step outside. You need to step outside, and you're not going to feel ready for it. And it probably will trigger stuff. That's it. That's the actually being willing to step into the unknown, to do things before you're ready for them. You don't get a little mail at your door saying, all right, whatever your name is, you are now ready for the phase where you expose yourself to the things that you want to do, but you're afraid of. You have to be okay with not getting it right. This is the safety trap. This is the fear trap. The mind becomes so afraid. Like fear just becomes this addictive loop where you just like, it's so easy to just continuously take a step back, take a step back, take a step back away from life. Continuously, I want to take one step back away from life. And the more that you reinforce that like addictive cycle of just like, no, I'm just going to stay back in what feels kind of like numbed out, pulled back, avoiding what I don't want to feel. Instagram, whatever, Reddit, Twitter, fuck, I don't know what it is that you use to numb yourself out, right? Just catastrophizing in the mind. All of that is like a distancing mechanism, and it becomes an addictive loop. Whereas when you start to act out from fear, it's just easier to do it more and more, right? So you have to start to go in the other direction. And I said this in one of my previous videos, use nature to help you, right? Because it's tricky. Your nervous system is stuck in a state. It's tricky. So put yourself in a space where you're getting natural regulation from nature, right? This is what I always do, right? Someone was asking me on Instagram the other day of like, how do you deal with like this getting stuck in fight or flight mode because of like dopamine addiction, like being addicted to scrolling on Instagram and this and that. And it's like, well, we get pulled into this experience of not wanting to rest back into the body, right? It's like all of that keeps you up in the head, and coming back into the body just feels like, it's just like, I don't want to go there. So let me just scroll a bit more. Let me just, and it's okay. Like that stuff's addictive. So put it on your phone and just go out in nature, which is naturally going to regulate and kind of restore your nervous system. And then, you'll be better able to deal with, you get more clarity and you're able to deal with what you need to deal with in your everyday life. And just allow yourself to start to do things that you actually want to do, right? Allow yourself to explore things that you actually want to, right? And, sometimes you forget what that is, right? Again, like for me today, I was like, I'm just going to do some work. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I saw someone going out to paddle on the lagoon here and play in the waves. And I was just like, do I feel like doing that? And I was just like, let me just go out. And then when you're out there, you realize how good it is for you, right? Like it's just a break from everything. For me, I'm talking from my own experiences. There's no cell phone there. There's no laptop. There's no like this whole complicated world. It's just like me and the water, right? And the sunshine. And you have these opportunities, right? Again, I'm always going to make this point because it's so easy to hear me talking about my life and then say, well, my life's not like that. So, Kyle can only do that because that's his life. But this is me applying all these principles to my own life, right? I always try to make this point. So you apply the principles to your life, right? Go do what you want to do. Maybe it's paint. Maybe it's play music. Maybe it's do this. Maybe it's do that. But yeah, and if you think of something, think of it right now. Let's do it. Like, think of something that excites you. Like, what would you do if you felt completely healthy, right? And it's good for you though. Like, okay. Like, as I said, I've always been like an active, outdoorsy, sporty person. So it's good for me to remember that that's good for my kind of body, mind. So what is it for you, right? What would you do? And then see what's saying that you're not ready for that. You're not allowed to do that. It's going to lead to a big crash. It's going to lead to a big flare up. And just start, right? Start small, but really just introduce it into your life, because you're not going to feel ready. You're not, you can endlessly watch things online. You can endlessly listen to, I think this is what also shifted for me. It's like you can endlessly like research and listen to podcasts and conversations and, search for healing information. And all of that plays a role in the time, right? It can help to shift your beliefs and can help you to see how people recover and start to like recondition your nervous system around your illness and what's possible and how you can heal and all of that. So it's good in the moment. But then at some point you have to step into your own healing. That's what it is, right? It's yours. Is not going to be like everybody else's stories on Raylan Eagle or kind of what I talk about or anybody else talks about. That's the fucking cool thing. It's going to be relevant to you, exactly where you are in your life, exactly what you like to do, exactly what you want to get back to. What do you want to get back to? What is full recovery for you, right? If you had to think of like, I'm in this space now where I'm not healed and I have all these problems. Cool, that's relevant. This is what it's going to be like when I'm recovered, even if you don't believe that's possible for you. This is what I'm hoping to get towards. And it can help to like write this down. Like, what do I want to get back to when I'm fully recovered? And then stop waiting for the day when that's going to happen, because it's not just going to happen. You have to actively start to shift where you're at, right? This is it. This is your reality. This now moment. And if it doesn't happen now, it doesn't happen. And what I mean by that is you don't have to change everything right now, right? You can give yourself the space to slow down. You can give yourself the space to rest and all of that, if that's what you need. That's what some people need, and that's okay. But at the same time, for people, this is more for people that have kind of gotten stuck in that safety mode, in that seeking safety endlessly, in this like freeze state that is afraid to do anything, right? You could call it like dorsal vagal shutdown if you're talking polyvagal theory, whatever. The terminology doesn't matter. If you've gotten stuck in that mode, then you need to start to live again. What is things that are actually going to bring back this feeling of aliveness in your life? Who knows? Maybe it's walking down a busy street, seeing people at like coffee shops and pubs. I did this when I was staying in the city for a bit, and I was just kind of started to get this feeling of aliveness, right? Oh, there's so much more to life than just sitting in my apartment all day, completely stressed out about my illness, right? I understand it if you're, if you're completely overwhelmed by symptoms and your nervous system is completely dysregulated, then yes, maybe you need to work on more like guided meditations. And I've got that you can use for that. Again, spending time in nature. If you can't get out into nature, listen to nature sounds on your phone. Right? So, there's that side of restoring the nervous system and kind of establishing safety again. But this is more for, okay, now I need to step out into the world and start to kind of bring aliveness back into my life, right? Again, and then aliveness is found when you throw yourself into it. You might not feel it yet, right? You might not feel the energy yet. That's the same thing for me. I've often felt it's like I don't have the energy to go to the gym. I don't have the energy to go out for a hike. I don't have the energy to go out to do this or that. But often, just getting out into it, that's when the kind of energy flows back into the system, because you're putting yourself out into the space. And then the nervous system adapts to the space that you're in. It's like, oh, yes. Yeah, now we're living, right? And then you're in the spontaneity again. This is what I would start to do. I'd go out for walks, and I had no idea how long I was going to walk for, where I was going to end up. And sometimes I would so-called overdo it, right? Where it would bring up a lot in my nervous system for me to work through and to, sit with and meditate with, and you call it these like adjustment phases, as some people call it, and that's fine. You don't know, you don't have to know, right? I go on these walks and I just like have a fucking time of my life being out there, because I'd been locked up in like a little prison cell for so long. I'm like, wow, the world is cool, man. It's cool to be in the world. And then I just keep going. I'd like walk for a long time when I hadn't done that for ages. And again, it can overwhelm you, but that's just part of it as well. You're not holding back out of fear anymore, right? Some people are in the push, 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 push. Then to them, I would say like, hey, it's okay to stop. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to just put down your phone, just chill. But again, the same thing I'd recommend is go out in nature, just chill, just stop. Listen to the sounds of the birds, touch a tree, smell the grass. Sounds so hippie, but honestly, it's so good for your nervous system. So either way, get out, be a bit more alive, and stop waiting for healing to find you, right? Be willing to make changes that you need to, right? If it's like you need to go and learn how to meditate, or you need to go and work with somebody that's going to help you, then do that. Do the changes, make the change. Like if you're more in that restorative mode, then say, what are some steps that I can take to help that happen? But don't stay fully in this, like, I'm not going to do anything out of fear and I'm just going to wait to heal. Maybe you need to go through that phase and it's okay, but at some point that shifts, from my own experience and from other people that I've spoken with. So that I try to encompass this for everybody in all different phases. But the point is, don't wait around for healing to happen. Feel into what you need to do. What do you want to do? Right? Do you want to give yourself space to slow down? Then give yourself space to slow down. Do you want to, or do you feel like you're frozen in that space? Well, then maybe you need to put yourself out there more. So feel into it for yourself. And you don't need to wait to feel ready. That's the key. If you wait to feel ready, you're going to be waiting forever. You never feel ready for anything. That's what I've learned from my own journey. So I hope that's helpful. Good luck. And I hope you manage to get out there and start to do something you want to do more.